Okay, we are gonna dive into the mean girl behavior. And like I said in the last video, our boys do it too. But it's kind of like that pack mentality, that group of kids. And honestly, I'm just gonna keep calling it mean girl behavior because that's kind of how I associate it from the movie. We know that kids can be very cruel. We know that they can say things that are thoughtless, but then there's oftentimes one or two kids who kind of dominate the social situations, especially when adults aren't around or when they don't think adults are around. And this starts very, very early. I've seen it in preschool yards. I've seen it in kindergarten yards. My daughter was sucked into it in the kindergarten yard, and I was horrified that I missed the signs early because they're there. The signs are always there. And it almost always involves social peer pressure. It's those packs, those cliques of girls, 3 to 5 to 6 or 7 girls, and it creates this interesting social dynamic that is really tricky to deal with and to navigate, especially when you're 5, 6, 7, right? And you're trying to figure out how this all works. And peer pressure is extra tricky and joining those little cliques and those groups, because it's easy to join in. You want to join in. You're willing to go along with the crowd because you fit in. It feels good to fit in. It feels good to be included. And we're going to go over all of that in the next unit. And there's also that fear of, like, if you don't join in, you could be the next target, right? If they're doing this to this person, I'm going to join in so that they don't do it to me. And social rules, it is hard to navigate this stuff. But social aggressive behavior, it often goes unnoticed on the yards. Yard staff tend to, and adults and teachers and parents, we tend to look for the physical aggression, but we often are missing the signs of that emotional, passive aggressive, or just emotional aggressive. Those are those conditional friendships, or getting kids to do things that they shouldn't be doing otherwise because of really negative peer pressure. Or I'm not going to do this unless you do this, or you can't join us today, and you can't play with us, and nobody's allowed to play with you because of X, Y, and Z, because you picked your nose, or because you don't have the purple shoes, or you're not wearing your hair in a ponytail like we all said we would. You don't get to. It becomes this thing. And when a group of girls or a group of boys are purposefully excluding, this can then, as a group, this then quickly escalates to bullying behavior. And social bullying, relational bullying, it is a dangerous thing. So how do we prevent it from becoming something bigger, from becoming bullying behavior? How do we put a stop to this mean girl behavior? So first of all, most of this is going to happen in those social situations when the kids have less structure. So on the yard, in the cafeteria, during those specials, during gym, or during music or art, if the teachers are, doing other things with other students. So those are the adults then, the yard staff, the cafeteria, lunch gals, lunch ladies, lunch men, whoever they are on your campus, the specials, the gym teacher, they need to know about it. You need to have these conversations. Hey, listen, there's a group of girls. Every once in a while, they really exclude this girl and this girl. Can you just keep an eye out for me? Make sure they're including, or give me a heads up if you see it. Ask them to report back to you. Your gym teacher, say, hey, listen, there's a tricky dynamic with these students. Would you mind separating them in your class so that it doesn't escalate? Right? We're trying to de-escalate this. Can you help? Can you help me with this? So pulling in those other resources that you have around you. Then separate them if you can. So during partner group, or when you're mixing them in centers, or during assemblies, sit them in different places, or on field trips, put them in different groups or with different partners. Break up the clique as much as you can, so that then they can see that there are other people out there. There are other amazing kids that they can spend time with, that they're not only having to spend time. This is not their only solution to a positive peer relationship. And then watch out for who they're targeting. Watch out for that kid who's kind of pushed out. And we're gonna go more into this of how to prevent that bullying in the next videos. But really, if there's a group of 4, and all of a sudden, on one day, there's 3 together and 1 is out here, something happened. There's a reason she is not with those students. You've got to investigate, you've got to figure it out. And you need to do it in a way that doesn't then trigger the anger of these girls. So ask her to help you, ask that one child to come do something for you, ask her to, stay after school without them noticing, whatever the case may be. Write her a letter home, what's going on? I noticed that you're not playing with them, and normally you do. You guys always love playing hopscotch, and today you were on the swings by yourself. I wanted to see what's going on, what changed. Maybe they'll open up, maybe they won't, but then they can see that you see, and they know. You could also call those other girls out on it if you wanted to, be like, what is going on? You guys are not including everybody. You guys are a group of friends, and now I see that you're not being so kind here, and this is how we do things at our school. So you can call those girls out. Remind those girls, especially that the leaders of the pack, those extroverts, the dominant personalities, to do good. Be kind as you're walking out the reason. Be kind. I see you. I see you. Be kind. Do good out on the yard. Use that social power that you have, right? We always have those kids. Use that for the best. Include other people. Connect kids. Invite them to join in. Invite them to play. Go back to those basics, especially with those students, right? So if you have a student who you know is causing some havoc out on the yard with some mean girl behavior, pull out that whole chart for her or him. Say, hey, listen, every time I notice that you are including somebody else, I am going to give you a hole. You could also suggest kind friends to some of those girls or the boys on the fringe, on the outskirts of that social group. So say, hey, listen, sometimes these kids aren't super kind to you, but I notice that you keep spending time with them. Can I suggest you spend time with this person or this person or this person? This one really likes basketball, and this one really likes art, and this one really likes computers, and I know you like all three of those. Go spend time with that person. So guiding them towards the kinder kids to kind of save them from this social dynamic that they're kind of sucked in or drawn into, because it's like a magnet. It does pull them in. They want to fit in, they want to be part of a group, and they keep going back for more, and it's heartbreaking to watch sometimes. I've watched my kids do it, I watched my students do it, and it is heartbreaking. So again, figuring out that pack leader. So who is that? So it's fun to watch kids when they don't think that you're watching. I used to love watching recess, from my room while I'm drinking my coffee, or as I'm like walking back from the office with my Xerox copies. I would just kind of pause and kind of just watch, see the dynamic. Who is that big extrovert, that big personality? Oftentimes it's the youngest of the family. So the firstborns tend to be leaders, but they don't have that negative social dynamic that the younger students have, because they've been they're trying to catch up with their big sibling, or their big siblings maybe teasing them or being mean to them, or boxing them out, not letting them come into their room, not letting them hang out with their friends. And again, it's a learned behavior, so that they're now doing it. They're trying to assert that control and that power on kids that they can do it on. So they can't do it on their big brother, but they can do it on these kids on the yard. So taking a look and watching to see who that big pack leader is, and it could rotate, it could shift, they could share it, but then really, really focusing on those girls or boys. Hey, let's use this for good. Let's be kind. We are going to be kind. We are going to include other people, and then keeping an eye on it so that you know that it's not going to escalate into bullying. So in the next video, we are going to talk about why bullying matters. Like, why do we need to care as educators if our kids are being bullied? We're going to talk about what is bullying and what is not bullying. And then I'm going to give you specific ways that you as a classroom teacher or a counselor or administrator can prevent bullying before it even happens. I'll see you in there.